Let us discuss this theorem. The theorem statement of theorem is very simple. What have they given? We have two scalar fields f and g. Given that both of them are differentiable at a, and simply we have to prove f minus g is differentiable at a. Okay, so see, for a scalar field there are two different definitions of differentiability having a same meaning actually. First is using limit we can define it, and the second using epsilon delta. So to prove this theorem, I am going to use epsilon delta definition. So that's why we will take one epsilon first. Let epsilon greater than 0 be given. After that, we will use the given information one by one. The first information is f is differentiable at a. Let us use it. We have f is differentiable at a. So the function is differentiable at a. So by definition, using epsilon delta definition, what can we write? We can write here there exists a linear transformation T1. Therefore, there exists a linear transformation T1 from Rn to R. So I am defining a linear transformation T1 from Rn to R because the function is also from Rn to R, subset of Rn to R. So that's why there exists a linear transformation T1 from Rn to R such that for above epsilon greater than 0 there exists delta greater than 0 such that what can I write using definition? You know the definition, norm h less than delta implies mod f of a plus h minus f of a minus t1 of h divided by norm h less than epsilon. By definition we could write it. So instead of delta I am going to write delta 1 everywhere. Okay, since after that in next step we will have a delta 2, so that's why obviously. As well as one more adjustment I am going to do, that is instead of epsilon I will write epsilon by 2. This is my statement number 1. Okay, so we use the first given information, that is f is differentiable at a. The second information we have, that is g is also differentiable at a. Let us use it. We have g is differentiable at a. So therefore, again same definition we can use. Therefore, there exists a linear transformation T2, we'll call it as T2 from Rn to R such that again for above epsilon greater than 0 there exists, we have taken delta 1, there I will take delta 2 greater than 0 such that, okay, same definition. Okay, what can I write? Norm h less than delta 2 implies mod g of a plus h minus g of a minus t2 of h divided by norm h less than epsilon by 2. Actually in definition we have epsilon. Epsilon by 2 is our adjustment. Okay, so we have statement 1 and 2. Statement 1 is true for norm h less than delta 1. Statement 2 is true for norm h less than delta 2, but we want both statements should be true simultaneously. So what will I do? I will select minimum of delta 1 and delta 2. So both of them will be true simultaneously. So we take delta is equal to minimum of delta 1 and delta 2. So we can use both statements simultaneously. Okay, so you can make a screenshot of it, then we will go further. So now with the help of linear transformation T1 and T2, we are going to define a new linear transformation T. So now we define a linear transformation T from Rn to R as, so we are defining this way, T of h is equal to T1 of h minus T2 of h. So we are defining it this way. Okay, see, we are going to prove this T is nothing but required total derivative of f minus g. So let us start to prove it. So I am going to consider norm h less than delta implies. I hope still you remember that delta we have selected as minimum of delta 1 and delta 2. So that means statement number 1 and 2, both of them are simultaneously true for this delta, so we can easily use them. So let us consider now, implies. What we have to prove? We have to prove that f minus g is differentiable. So that's why I am considering f minus g of a minus t of h divided by norm h. See, our target is to prove that this is less than epsilon, then we can declare f minus g is differentiable and this t is a required total derivative of f minus g. Let us simplify it and finally we prove that it is less than epsilon. So this is equal to mod, I will operate separately. So f of a plus h minus g of a plus h. Here also I will operate separately. Minus f of a minus plus g of a. Okay. And this, you remember, t means t is nothing but t1 of h minus t2 of h. So that's why we can write t1 of h. See, but there is minus sign outside. So minus plus t2 of h whole divided by norm h. After that, we will collect all terms of f and we will collect all terms of g. See what will happen. So this is f of a plus h minus f of a and this t1, okay, minus t1 of h plus second, just a minute, plus, okay, plus I will write, sorry, there is minus sign, minus g of a plus h plus g of a plus t2 of h whole divided by norm h. So you know that if I take separate mod, value will get increased. Getting? So I'm going to do that. And I am going to divide both terms by norm h separately. So therefore we will have, this is less than or equal to mod f of a plus h minus f of a minus t1 of h, right, divided by norm h, separate mod as well as dividing separately, plus mod minus g of a plus h plus g of a plus t2 of h divided by norm h. Okay, so we have some space here. I'm going to utilize that space. Let us continue. So you know that inside mod, if you change all signs, it doesn't matter, we will have a same value. Since mod minus 5 is nothing but mod 5, or mod 4 is nothing but mod minus 4. So that's why if you change all signs, it doesn't matter, we will have a same value. So that's why we can write this is equal to mod f of a plus h minus f of a minus t1 of h divided by norm h. I will write it here next, plus mod, okay, I think some more space will be required, mod g of a plus h minus g of a minus t2 of h divided by norm h. Since statement number 1 we have said its value is less than epsilon. In statement number 2 we have said value of second term is less than epsilon by 2. Sorry, both of them are epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2. I can clearly mention from 1 and 2. So epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2, this is epsilon. So actually we started with this one and finally we proved that it is less than epsilon. So therefore we can declare here f minus g is differentiable at a. So you can make a screenshot of it, then we will go further. So therefore we can declare f minus g is differentiable at a, and its total derivative is nothing but that linear transformation t. So let us write it. Its total derivative is d of f minus g of a of h. This is nothing but t of h, that linear transformation. But still you remember the definition of t, it is t1 minus t2. So therefore t1 of h minus t2 of h. But basically t1 is linear transformation corresponding to f, and T2 is a linear transformation corresponding to G. That means T1 is total derivative of f at A and T2 is total derivative of G at A. So therefore I can write this is total derivative of f at A of H minus this is total derivative of G at A H. So actually we have operated those operators on H, and this is true for all H. So therefore finally what can we write? Therefore we can write finally d of f minus g. If you simply compare operators, so we will have d of f of a minus d of g of a. So these are operators, so that's why I'm writing this one instead of writing equal to. Okay, so you can make a screenshot of it. After that we will stop. Thank you. Bye bye.